Oh, man, I hate Mondays.
Nah, man, it's Tuesday.
Wait. What day is it?
You know what day it is. Tuesday. Brewsday Tuesday.
Oh, fuck yeah! It's time for Brewsday Tuesday. Here's DreZ and Big Nate.
Now, you guys can go ahead and pop yours like normal. This one's...
Do you know how that works?
I've never done one of these before, so I'm assuming you pop
or
this
stand
out.
up and put it between your legs, because it's going to pop.
It's going to pop like crazy?
Yeah, and I just was poured, too.
Oh, look, we've already got audience participation.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right.
Watch that little smoke come off. Watch this.
Oh,
There was
yeah.
a little
There's
coming.
definitely, it's
There's
in
a
there.
little on there.
All right, if you're watching on the YouTube, then you might be able to see that little smoke. But it is definitely a Brewsday Tuesday over here in Studio B as we welcome Keith from Long Way Brewing. Now, I was actually thinking about this before we open up the mics. What would be your title? I guess you're like, what, co-owner and jack of all trades? I feel like I've seen you do anything and everything over there.
Well,
at
yeah,
Long
that's
Way.
funny. That's actually funny that you say that, because everyone will say, you seem to wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
And then today
I've seen you behind the bar.
Yeah.
I see you putting up decorations. I see you
mowing.
just
I'm mowing.
mowing. Yeah,
I'm mowing the hell out of
mowing.
that lawn.
Landscaper.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah, the man with who wears all hats, many hats, isn't wearing a hat today. But, yeah, owner, operator, obviously as a small business partner, you end up having to pull your weight. And so we've got myself and Rob, we're our two partners. We had originally we started out with a third partner, and we're able to transition to the current situation based off of kind of where things played out, and couldn't be happier with kind of the progression of the brewery. And I think what we've brought today is a very nice representation of three beers that fit very, very well, particularly as we move into Father's Day weekend.
What a great segue, Keith.
You're
So
welcome.
what did you bring today?
I've done this before. Yeah, I like talking about beer. No, we brought three beers here. Brought a nice sour, and it's from our sour series.
And that's what you got, Nate. I
Yeah,
believe,
It is,
right?
which is perfect for me.
Mhm. So you'll be pouring a pineapple vanilla version,
Ooh.
and so that's our sour, not sorry. And then you're drinking
Cover Me, it said on the top?
Cover Me in
Okay.
Sunshine.
Okay.
Yeah, and I kind of used the, for people who are familiar with our award-winning Forecast Downpour, which is our hazy New England IPA. And I purposely didn't bring that one. And the reason why I didn't bring it is
You know that I've had that many a time.
well, yeah,
I
it's
love it.
It's award-winning.
It is
right?
a staple.
Yeah.
But I like to try. Anytime I go in, I always try the stuff I,
know
haven't
you-
had before. so-
Yeah, yeah. So this one comes out twice a year, both during the warmer months. So it's a great little beer. It's a simple style beer, and we can talk about that. And then I'm going to pour our Steppin' Up, and it plays off of the name of the Blacksburg Steppin' Out, and it's got that color that you would look for relative to the straw and the head retention, all of that you would expect in a nice Pilsner or a lager. And
So-
yet it's an ale.
So for those that don't know, might as well, I mean, like I said, with that great segue from earlier, Keith is actually the co-host of Hodgepodge, which
Yeah.
is on our sister station, WRAD. And usually you're in the studio. So this is
Yeah.
this is second nature.
That's
to you.
right. Different chair.
I'm the real fish out of water in this situation.
Different
I
chair, but
stole
yeah.
his seat. He's very angry about it.
It's all right. It's all right. It's okay.
When we go off air, we're going to fight in the parking
Yeah,
lot for
hopefully
this seat.
not. Hopefully not.
But what I was getting at though is because so you're on the air quite, or I guess on the weekends, right? And
Correct,
then
yeah.
you guys do drink beers on your show as
Yeah.
well, don't you?
Yeah, this is so natural. I mean,
Saturdays, 9 a.m.
it's the same.
And every now and then you have some extras, and I find them in my beer fridge in my office, which I'm very appreciative.
Yeah.
I think that most recent one, which was that hazy,
Wasn't that good?
that was really good. I was
Yeah.
drinking that on the canoe trip weekend or two ago.
Yeah.
That was hitting the spot, man.
Every once in a while when you find a nice little one,
Well, I think that was a scenario too where you'd like found a hell of a deal.
Yeah, I did.
Because you
yeah.
told me, and I went over later that day and grabbed another
Were
six pack.
Were they on sale?
Yeah.
somewhere?
Four for like $5.99 or something
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, that's a bargain.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's a crazy good bargain.
Yeah. Yeah. I really, when I try to find something and it's unique, I try to set a couple aside and then get them in the hands of people. And I think that, you know, having a brewery, I think I had that same sort of a mindset before, but having a brewery and always rotating and kind of finding that next gem. I know that that's what you all set to do on the air and but having that background or that story to tell, like where you got it and what you were doing. And it really is, you know, I think it's what actually beer and togetherness and taverns and all of that was originally intended, right? Tell your story at the end of the day.
Yeah. Now, and you're talking about the brewery. So for those that don't know, Long Way Brewing, it's over there in Radford. It's in that old church, which I think at the time when you opened there, you were one of, I think, a handful of
Correct.
breweries that moved into a church. I think there might be a couple more since then. But
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past that there's anywhere between 50 and 100 now. Churches being what they are, which is expensive endeavors to run with a congregation, let alone to upkeep without one. And so just demographic shifts within, you know, cities and towns. Churches do periodically become available, and working with the congregations there, that's always the biggest, to respect kind of what they've built and their traditions and not try to undo it, but maybe help. You can't necessarily amplify it because you're not actually going to be doing service, but you can do service to what they have done. So
And
you
try to
can
upkeep
provide a
it.
chapter for the next,
Correct.
the space
Yeah.
for the next chapter.
And that's one of the things that I really like of how you did the brewery, because you embraced the venue, and you still have the pews inside,
Right.
and the stained glass and all that sort of stuff. So it's really, really cool. Now, it opened 2020. Is that one?
Yeah, so I was, you know, in preparation for this, I did a lot of homework. But in 2012, we were doing backyard brew parties, and Big Nate, he was much bigger Nate at that point in time.
Had a lot more hair too.
Yeah, he used to come to those, and we spent a couple of years. And quite frankly, it was an opportunity to kind of get together and just have a great laugh, you know. And then, of course, everyone's like, "Oh, these are great beers." I'm like,
So
well,
this
yeah.
was homebrew.
This
You
is
just like
homebrew.
homebrew.
Yeah, and we did that monthly, religiously for a couple of years. And in 2014, proudly proclaimed that we were going to open up a brewery. And so for the next 6 years, 6+ years,
It takes time.
I got to answer, so when's that going to happen? 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 And it happened on the very last month of 2020. So I didn't have to hear about it in 2021. So we've been open for 3.5 years-ish. And so, yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, and one of the things that I'm a big fan of Long Way, not only because it's the closest brewery to my house, but you guys also have a lot of cool events, regularly have music, you do the trivia,
Yeah.
and you're also very visible. Like I know that there's, like you mentioned, the Summer Solstice Festival. You guys like to try and get involved, and the stuff in Radford. What's the those should be coming up, right? The
concerts and stuff.
no, the what's the West End?
Oh,
Yeah, West End Wednesday. Well, it's not West End Wednesdays anymore, right?
no,
Didn't they switch it up?
That'll be
West End Weekend.
West
yeah.
End Weekend.
Yeah, that'll all be pushed and consolidated into the October.
Like an Oktoberfest thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically on Glencoe grounds. You know, the one thing when you have a lot of volunteers, and I think we're all in that ilk where, you know, in order to make a community, you've got to make it a community, which means it's like kind of up to you too, right? You're part of that. But as Radford is trying to move to different venues or incorporate and start new things, unfortunately, in many cases, the manpowers are the same people. So it was a reallocation of resources in order to get a couple other things up and going this year. And I don't know if you all have been to the farmers market at all.
It just started up
this
April,
year.
like
I
just
love the farmers market.
Yeah.
April 20th, I think.
Yeah,
was
have
the
you
first
been yet?
weekend. I've been once.
Okay.
Problem is like, so usually what happens is I end up going for a run, and then I see that the farmers market's happening,
Yeah.
and then I pop by and I'm like, but I don't have my money on me. I
Yeah,
can't
right.
run
I'm
with
just
these
running.
groceries
Right.
and stuff. But it's
barter a chicken. Just bring a chicken under your arm and then barter it.
There we go. There we go. But no, I do love, and I think that's 9. Is it 9 to 1 Saturdays?
Yeah, something like that. And it's packed. So the number of volunteers and organizers for that, a lot of times they were the same folks that were doing the other. So it's kind of, once again, where do you kind of push your resources?
I mean, it's the same group of people every time.
Yeah.
And it's the offerings there are fantastic. We
Yeah.
always try and go, and particularly the one I like is the grabbing of plants to plant, and then inevitably I'm always disappointed with the results. So you have to go back and get what somebody else grew
Now I'm
successfully.
I'm going to assume that you liked the sour.
I do.
Okay.
It's going down easy.
I mean, I've never, very rarely have a sour I'll turn down, but this is delicious. I like the pineapple vanilla combo.
Yeah.
I think it cuts a lot of the acidity,
It does.
which some people don't. It's something I look for, but I think this would be like a perfect, this is almost like a gateway sour.
It actually, it's very mild. I would assume.
How's the lactose on that? That's one of the things that sometimes can put me off. If it's, but with a sour, I think
it smooths
lactose
it
is
out.
probably a little bit more acceptable.
It is. It's actually.
I think you'd be fine with it.
If you don't put that lactose in there, you tend to get more of the seltzer style qualities. So this is to give it that body, thicken it up, for lack of a better term. And so we do put on the board that it does contain it, but I mean, if you are lactose intolerant, then
stay away. But I'm not lactose intolerant. I find in
Just
a
don't like
lot of the
milk.
IPAs, and it's not all of them, but some of them it does this thing where it gets me in the back of my throat. It almost
on the
makes
sours, you mean?
on the lactose.
Oh,
Like, is
the
it
lactose.
acid
There's
reflux?
lactose. It's not an acid reflux thing. I just feel like it ruins the flavor. It's you take a sip and the beer tastes great, and then once you swallow it, there's just this, I don't know, there's something lingering on the back of my throat. And it doesn't happen for all of them, because there's definitely some. I mean, I can know instantly when it has it, and maybe it's just too much lactose.
Yeah.
Because there's also been beers that have lactose, and I'm like, I don't know and then I think it's great. So it really is finding that balance. But I think it's mainly when it's an IPA that has it versus a sour or I guess because usually even when they label it what do they call it? A milkshake IPA. You see those tend to have
that's in
it.
there. Yeah, that's in there. So you're hitting into the world of brewer's choice, right? It's not dealer's choice, it's the brewer's choice. And so how that brewer is looking to get body or flavor profile, density, whatever it may be. It's another thing, and it really works that I don't know if you guys notice this. I talk about it a lot, having a brewery and talking about beer all the time. But I tend to find that some beers can carry a chill a little bit better. So some don't transfer very well where you'll drink them. I mean, it's right next to each other, same temperature, and this one will taste like it's 5 to 10 degrees warmer than the other on the immediate pour. And most of that is done through malt density or the alcohol volume. There's things, but things like the lactose can actually create a more pleasant down, as opposed to sometimes when like if you open up a soda, and I don't really like drink sodas, but if you do and you open up one, sometimes you immediately kind of get that shock of the carbonation, and then you get that.
It's a great feeling, Keith.
Yeah, and
You really should give it a try.
You'll kind of burp a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That helps to cut that so that you can drink it more, kind of like a beer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I know that
The bodiness isn't.
I know that we're gonna have to get by there to let BB try that, because she loves the sour not sorry.
That's exactly
sorry
right.
not sour. Yeah, sour not sorry.
Correct.
And the series is great. There's been so many different good ones, and I don't know if we've had the pineapple vanilla.
Yeah.
Is that brand new to it, or is it come back?
Came
Okay.
on last week, and
Okay.
so we're on the last couple of kegs, and that's kind of the beauty of a small brewery. I mean, if you
can pivot.
if you don't like what's on, come back a week.
Well, and that's one of the things that I mentioned. Every time I go in there, I always like to try the new things, because I always like to get the check-ins, because I'm a big Untapped guy, but
Yeah, you
also
are.
I just like to try new stuff.
Yeah.
And I love it because there's always at least one or two that I haven't had
Yeah.
before. So, and remind me, what were you sipping on?
I had a Steppin' Up, and so that is just our blonde ale. So, you will get individuals that will, you know, and it's their preference. They'll say, I really kind of like more of a Corona, or I like the Mick Ultras, those sorts of things. This right here has, in our opinion, a far greater flavor profile without causing that hoppiness or that bitterness that some people say they don't like. What we actually tend to find is that individuals that will move through, no different than they might start with a Zinfandel or something like that within a wine, the longer they go through, they'll pivot to a Sauvignon Blanc, or they'll move to a Pinot Grigio, and they'll say, oh gosh, I can't believe how far I am from that original. The same sort of a thing will happen with the Stavo. So we invite people who don't really know a lot about craft beer, or might be concerned with craft beer, or say they don't like beer, to just step up. Just try this. And it's a nice little option. So
it's good to have at least one or two beers like that your everyday, all I drink is Bud Light,
Correct.
You got to have something that's palatable to that, but maybe just like you said, a step above, step up from there. So, all right, well, here's what we're going to do. Well, we like to untap the beers. What was your rating on your Sorry Not Sour Vanilla Pineapple?
I'm going to give it a 4.75.
All right. Not too shabby.
It's really good. It's smooth. It's creamy.
And Keith, you're on Untapped, right?
Yeah.
What would you rank that beer? Your step up?
Well, so
he's biased.
I was going to say, I mean, yeah. I would imagine, well, usually it's the brewer is their own critic, but are you right along that same vein? Because
so I'm one of those, they're like my children. I like them all, right? And I have certain days that I will just naturally pivot and say one is better than the other. For the season that we're in, this beer, freshly poured, and if you want to add a lime to it, you can even pour some of the pineapple in here, or when we have our mango or anything else, you can pour it in there. So it really offers so many levels. I always give it a high 4, and it is not, once again, it's this bitterness or this robustness. It's just a nice, easy, drinkable beer, to the point that mine was gone first.
Yeah, I'm trying to baby this because I want to have at least one last. I usually like to have one last.
Poured more than us.
Well, maybe. Well,
I poured more.
No,
I might have. Well, I got the biggest glass.
Yeah, that's
it's by design. But the cover me. I was going to say the same sort of thing. For this time of year, this is a great, nice, easy drinker. Yeah. I'm guessing the ABV on this is a 5 and change, maybe 6,
it's about 5.7, I think.
Yeah, so like it's right around there where it's nothing that's going to
and hold that
knock you
up.
down.
Hold that back up. Oh, I can see it on the camera. We can see it on the camera. I mean, you can see just that gorgeous color. Really, I mean, you're still retaining. You see how it's grabbing the glass?
Yeah, it's got the lacing there.
It's all of it. It's just, that's a very, 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 very good beer.
It's a nice, light, easy drinker. That's an easy, I'd say, high 4s as well. Probably across the board for all these, man. Yeah. This is good stuff.
Delicious.
So now you mentioned the mixing, so that's that I'm intrigued by. So here's what I want to do. I want to take a break.
We call it blend.
Yeah, we'll try. We might try some blending here in a bit. So we'll step aside. We'll play a song. I always like to let our guests pick the tunes. I'm sure you're familiar with the format. What kind of rock do you like, Keith?
Well, I do like some Metallica.
All right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We'll play some Metallica. We'll come back. We'll drink some more beers as we have Keith from Long Way Brewing in the house. A special Studio B edition of Brewsday Tuesday continues after this. Stick around.